Yeah, and I mean, I also have a theory too with like the whole of why you see so many Dominicans, why you see so many like white folks from like middle of nowhere America is because the socioeconomics, and it's so much cheaper to put a academy in the Dominican Republic than it is to put, say, in Oakland, California, or in LA, because it's going to cost millions upon millions, and no one,
I
I don't know. Do you see
no,
that
I
or
I
no?
wouldn't I wouldn't I wouldn't say it's cheaper. And why I wouldn't say that because the difference between America and other Latin countries when it comes to baseball is that, and it's nobody's fault. It's our country we live in. We live in a very selfish country,
Hmm.
and what I mean by that is these academies that are being built in the Dominican, in Venezuela, in Cuba, whatever, bro, their own players come here to play, and then they go dump their money back to where they're from.
Oh.
So it's
Mm,
like the reason why these Dominican kids are getting better, stronger, faster at a younger age, more and more every year, is because Cano, David Ortiz, Albert Pujols, Nelson
Jose
Cruz,
Altuve.
all these guys, what they do is when they make their money here, and not to mention they're 15, 18-year big leaguers, right? So they've made hundreds, millions of dollars over their career. What do? They go home and build academies to teach their kids, teach their own people. And that's the thing. Like here in America, yeah, you might get a facility, like you might build a facility or whatever, but guess what? You're not hiring the right coaches. You're hiring people just to work there, right? Like you're not
And you have to
you're
pay.
mm.
Yeah.
you're not setting up academy type, like where we're down in, like, for example, Robinson Cano's place out in San Pedro in Dominican, right? First of all, that dude owns like half of San Pedro. That's where he's from. Like half of that city, I'm pretty sure is owned by Robinson Cano. Dead serious. It's insane. But his academy is a school. It's literally, they sleep there, they get fed there, they train there, they go to class there. It's legit. It's almost like a university. It's like an IMG, except it's in the Dominican, and it's just about baseball. Like we don't have that shit here.
No. Uh,
Yeah,
We
we
don't.
don't. Like we don't, and it's like, because yes, it would take a lot of investment. Yes, it would take up time, but we don't live in a country that's worried about the next generation. They're worried about their own. Like, and it's not a bad thing. It's just that's the difference of the culture. Like when we go down and play in Mexico, right? The teams themselves have, academies, a few of them, whatever. They get us to go over there and work with the kids for that reason, right? Like because they don't have too many legendary Mexican ball players, especially position players. So they use us, and I love it. Like I speak the language. I love working with kids, but it's like when you come here though, like I work at three different facilities throughout the week, and I'm probably the most experienced dude in all the facilities, and I'm there part time, right? Like you got kids in there that want the instruction but don't have the physical or athletic ability. You have, your dads in there, your guys that just like played in JUCO. Like, bro, you can't walk into no facility like that in the Dominican. Be like, oh yeah, I played in a year in A ball and I'm working here. No, you're not. Like everybody comes through there, big leaguers, bro. You go down there in winter ball. Guess what? You got guest appearances from all the Dominican greats that come back and help their guys, right? And they do it because they want to, not
yeah.
because they're paid to do it. And that's kind of the thing. That's kind of the difference. That's why I teach, like, because I know there's not many people out there to teach catching, especially the right way. But I love to teach. I love to coach, and it's just not super unless you have hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. Like it's not really. I can't open up my own academy here because I don't have the capital for it,
Right.
and so it's very difficult in America for that societal norm to change. And so I feel like unless something crazy happens, like our numbers are going to keep going down. because our representation means it's having a lack of influence. Like I do what I do, and I speak and I teach and I do my social media and stuff because I want to inspire kids, yes, but I also want to inspire kids that look like me.
Yeah.
I want to inspire my Latin kids too because they know I speak Spanish, you know, and I did that on my own. I wasn't required to do that. I did that so I could connect with them, right? Um, it's just different, dude. It's we got to act as a group, and nobody here in America really works together unless it's beneficial instead of like for the future. That's the hard part.
It's hella selfish over here. And then I've just noticed in other countries, it feels more authentic. And even going back to your point to where the accessibility for black and brown kids or people of minorities, the numbers are down. I remember as a kid, I grew up in Oakland down the street from Kurt Flood Field. And those teams, you had black kids, white kids, Mexican kids, every type of race and credo. But when it came to travel ball, that's when I noticed that my friends stopped playing all of a sudden, and they switched from baseball and then went to basketball. Or they played soccer, and I mean, and it was it's the cost, it's too high, and I mean, it sucks just see these players who could have flourished if they had the funds or the availability or the accessibility to play in these travel ball teams. So that's also something that this country needs to address, is to make the game affordable. I know that the equipment's expensive. I know travel costs are expensive. Cost of living is expensive, but I admire, other countries having these academies and having players come back because they actually care versus over here.
It's huge.
It's like they play
Yeah.
the game and they're done. They chill in their house with their families, which is fine. But if you really want to grow the game, your influence is going to be after you're done playing the game. You can go
And that's the thing. Like we all play baseball, and once you get to a certain point, like it's a business.
Yep.
Like I hate saying it like that, but us as players, like we're our business.
Mm-hmm.
So our job is to be great, but to perform for X amount of time to get X amount of benefits, and then we're done, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's treated as such, and so it's only right for us to take it like that when we're in it. You know what I'm saying? And so, but also like you go back to these other countries. Guess what? They don't have diversity, bro. Like
Right.
one of the beautiful parts about the country is we have hella different races and cultures here in America, right? But it's like we get caught up in, and I'm not saying it's a problem, it's just reality, right? Like you go to the Dominican, guess what? 99% of the people that you're going to see are Dominican.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Mexico, same thing, right? They're Mexican. It's like here in America, like it's not like you got, hey, this part of California is black, like this part of California is brown, this part of California is white. Like, no, we're all mixed together, right? Which is a beautiful thing. But when it comes to the business side of things, most of these people that build especially these Latin dudes, most of these people that build their academies and their foundations for their kids and for their culture, it's not here in America. Like, because they're not from here.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're not originated from here. They go back to their home country and do it. And that's why I say we play a very selfish baseball game, because yes, we have guys that build we have guys that build facilities and stuff like that. But guess what? Seeing how our numbers have been diminishing, black and brown players in the big leagues, we're lacking those people that build those facilities. So most of your people that are building them are, your Mike Trouts, your Travis d'Arnaud's, your guess what? White dudes. Like it's just reality, right? So it's like even from a training standpoint, we lack the numbers to influence our own kind, because our own kind is going to get lessons and going to get work and playing on a travel ball team that's ran by the majority. And that's the issue that we run into. And that's the issue, because if we have 6% of us making it to the big leagues or getting to the big leagues, and then, we make the money, whatever it is, it's like, all right, so where are those people located? There's not many of them though. Like, and that's the issue. Like, I know Granderson's got an academy in Chicago. That's where he's from. He's got one in Chicago. I think
Mhm.
CC's got one in New York, maybe. I'm not all the way sure with that, right? But those are two people off the top of my head
Mhm.
that
I
I
think
can
he's got one in
say,
Vallejo too.
Think
yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
sure.
I can say that they have like a legit academy, right?
Right.
And that's two people. I can't think of any other person off the top of my head that are black
Yeah.
or American brown, obviously, that have academies or things in place like that for the youth in the states. Like I couldn't tell you. And
Yeah,
that's the
it's
thing.
hard. Yeah, it's hard because not even bring it up, and that's also like how you were raised too. You feel me? Like I always want to give back to my community because we never like my family. We didn't grow up wealthy. We weren't wealthy folks, right? So I wonder if that plays a part of it too. Because I mean, you
I,
see the most. I feel like I've seen the players that actually give back to the community are the players that really struggled to get to where they were or they went up and then they give back. I mean, I'm talking about, like James Harris and BJ Boyd, the backyard boys. You know what I mean? Those are players that struggle. You know what I mean? Like y'all came from basically humble beginnings and are giving back to the community, right? So I wonder if
mhm.
that plays a little bit of a role too as well.
I wouldn't say as much. I wouldn't say it has to do with your raising, just because I'm pretty sure that most guys that quote unquote get it out the mud, like I'm pretty sure they were all raised to be grateful and give back. It's just as you get older and you make your money, like people change.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like and we can't do anything about it. People change. And so, you can tell me nothing if I made $200 million. Like if I had a big league career where I made 150, $200 million, bro, we wouldn't even be talking about this with me because I'd have. Let's see, this is also the thing. I would build my academy probably in Alabama, where I'm from,
mm-hmm.
right? Because we don't have anything in my city, right? So, but that would have been immediate because that's something I've always wanted to do, though. Like
Right.
it's just it depends on the people. Like I know dudes in the big leagues right now that came from the hood. I ain't come from the hood. Like I came from the country, but I ain't come from the hood, right? I don't know nothing about that. And I know those dudes are trying to get it while they can to make sure their
Mm-hmm.
families are taken care of, right? And that's their kind of their goal, like to make sure that their kids grow up not the way they did, take care of their parents, like this that, and the other. Majority of the time, that's your focus, because in reality, and like you said, to an extent, yes, it is cheaper to make these academies and stuff in other countries. But to an extent, you don't get that many people that make the Tatis money, the Machado money, the Mike Trout money, the Otani money, right? Mookie Betts. You don't get those. Not everybody. That's the top 1%, not even 1% of Major League Baseball players nowadays, especially in areas like California, Arizona, Georgia, Florida, New York, whatever. All these places that are dominated by black and brown people. There's not a whole lot of players out there that are making that type of money to be able to build something as such.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so it's like you have to lean somewhere else to do it. You have to go somewhere else to do it. It's very difficult to do. Like I said, especially with the representation in the big leagues going down. Like especially
Yeah.
with that low number, 99%, I guarantee you, are worried about staying there and making as much money as possible so their family doesn't have to work and worry, because it's so little. Because it'd be different if there was 20%, especially with the money nowadays. It'd be different if the numbers were still 18, 19%. Because you could go in with 5 dudes and make a freaking academy in Oakland. Easy. Right? Like
Right.
you can, but there could be 5, 6 of you, right? You can't do that when there's only one of you on the team.
Yeah. It's
Like
tough.
that's the hard part. So
Yeah.
you got guys like me, BJ, all these guys who make good money, but we don't have millions. We're giving back where we can and how we can, but it's not reaching everybody on that type of level because we don't have the funds to create something of our own at this moment in time. You get what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so, because all of your heavy earners, African American wise, they're basketball players or baseball or football players.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
And they're installing basketball courts, or they're
exactly.
doing football academies.
And guess what? That's another reason why a lot of our black and brown kids get pushed to, or they switch up, because they're seeing this basketball academy over here, there's football academy over here, this football training over here, da 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 da, and they're by their own people. So their parents are like, yeah, he gonna get more out of that.
Yeah,
it's not gonna cut. I mean, it's just it's accessibility, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why